making what's basically an automatic lawnmower spiral cut. So first of all, I want to say I would not recommend this because a lot of what we're doing here is just bypassing all the safety measures that are built into this. So this bar here that we have clamped down is originally something you hold down, and if you ever let go of the lawnmower, it turns off. So if this ever got out of control, it's not going to turn off because this is clamped down. So it can be a little risky, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. What I'm going to do is first, whenever I start the lawnmower, I'll turn on the self-propel and then clamp that on. The string goes from the bucket and it's tied right here on the lawnmower with a slip knot, so we can just take that, pull it out, and it'll disconnect. The grass is a bit wet right now just because it's in the morning and the dew is still on the ground, so we might need to let that dry a little bit because you can see it just starts spinning. We put some rubber bands on the wheels to give it a little bit more traction. Pulled over the bucket. If I wouldn't have grabbed it, it would have totally gone over, so that's going to be a problem. Try another bucket on top. Alright, so the water bucket method is not a sound method. Hammer in a stake. And the rubber bands backfired a little bit and jammed up the mechanism. Just be careful sticking your fingers anywhere near mechanisms. There may have been a little flaw in the rubber band idea. Rubber bands are a bit of a pain to get out. Some brass on these zip ties so it gives us a little bit more traction. I'll crimp the back of every one of these so it adds almost like a sawtooth pattern to it. Now I'll zip tie that on. I'll pull the bag off to take off some of the weight. Off again, but this time it's making it all the way around, and the weight was a big problem. So after taking off that weight, it didn't really struggle as much with grip. Ran out of gas. It's taken a while to go around because the thing that it has to loop around is a really small diameter. So if we make that bigger, we're gonna have a bigger depth of cut because it'll wrap more coil around it every time it goes around. Right now, it's probably only taking like a 2-inch cut every time around, maybe even less. Put a stick beside it to increase the depth of cut as it goes around, so we'll just put the stick by it. And that's working a lot better. Put a rock on the front to give it a little bit more weight. closer to the pole, it really starts to struggle and just starts skidding the tires. As it gets closer, it really is a lot harder for this to go around in circles. And whenever you think about it, it's kind of similar to driving your car. That's why you need a differential, because right now what it's doing is basically dragging everything as it gets closer, especially since it's all trying to go in one direction and it wants to turn. The front of it is kind of being dragged, and that's why it's getting really hard. Well, in the end, it looks pretty nice, and it took quite a while to actually get everything set up and working. And in the time it took to get everything set up and cut this, my brother had already cut the entire front lawn. So it might not be quite as efficient, but you don't really have much manual labor in mowing that circle. We'll untie this and really get the lawn mowed for real. And well, there it is.